The Redmi Note 17, which I get at least 91 requests for every day. Wait, that's wrong, this is the Apple 17 and this one is the Redmi Note 17 Pro. Honestly, they look exactly like new brothers. As for this phone's marketing, it's mainly about being both waterproof and drop resistant.
Oh my god, I forgot this phone isn't drop resistant!
The teardown experience of the Redmi Note 17 Pro, dubbed the new generation of drop-resistant little Vajra, is its naming convention, like the Xiaomi digital series, skips 15 and goes straight to 17, benchmarking Apple. I bought this phone for $1,599, an 8 plus 128GB model for this teardown. 8 plus 128GB phones are quite rare these days. The one interesting point about this phone is that even Xiaomi executives are joking that it's a regressive flagship, for instance, its resolution, its materials, and its refresh rate. Today we'll take it apart to see if they've actually gone backward. Compared to the previous generation's launch price, it really does have less memory and a higher price. My first impression is that even though it used the 4th generation Snapdragon 6 processor, it still feels quite smooth with the latest HyperOS 3.0. The official marketing claims it stays smooth for 60 months without lagging. The phone feels quite heavy in the hand. I weighed it at 226 grams. You have to realize that some competitors' foldable phones only weigh 228 grams. So what exactly did Mr. Lei pack into this phone? Let's get right to the teardown. First, we'll use a heating pad for 2.5 minutes, and then use an alcohol swab and a pry tool to open the back cover. The entire back cover is made of a drop-resistant plastic material, and the lens cover features a layered dual-tier design. The upper step uses metal, while the lower part looks like glass, but is actually made of a polymer composite material. The benefit of this design is that it looks high-end and you won't feel bad if you drop it. Okay, let's look at the waterproof adhesive around the back cover. It's quite generous. The thickness is almost like the seal on my front door. The water resistance is rated at IP68 and IP69K, which is definitely maxed out. Looking at the internal layout, the battery size is truly exaggerated. It takes up nearly 80% of the space. Let's start by removing this motherboard cover. Checking the material of the cover with this marking, it has 20% glass fiber added. The purpose of adding glass fiber is to make it less likely to crack when dropped. We saw a similar design for the charging port when we tore down the Meizu 22, which also used glass fiber, so is it possible that Xiaomi has taken in some of the homeless Meizu stuff? Moving on, the cover also integrates an infrared remote control and a single color temperature flash. I measured the specs of the top speaker. It is roughly a 1012 L specification. The L stands for long, meaning a longer voice coil and a longer diaphragm stroke. Simply put, this speaker will be louder, which is quite suitable for elderly users. Now for the finer details, there is cushioning foam around the edges of the front camera, which shows quite meticulous workmanship. After all, this phone has passed a 3-meter drop certification, so that is definitely not just talk. Given this level of internal structural protection, what score would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? Next, let's remove the cameras. To be honest, in terms of imaging, compared to the previous Note 15 Pro, it is a genuine step backward, because the previous Note 15 Pro featured a LYT 600 large sensor for the main camera, complete with optical image stabilization. The secondary camera was also a proper 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens, plus a 20-megapixel front-facing camera. For a budget phone, the camera performance is still quite competitive, but in the 17th generation, the main camera has been switched to the Samsung JN5. Generally, this lens is used as an ultra-wide-angle camera in phones priced between $2,000 and $3,000. As for the secondary camera, it has gone from 8 megapixels down to a 2-megapixel depth sensor just to fill the slot, mainly used for blurring effects, which seems to be a must-have these days. The front camera has also been cut from 20 megapixels down to 8, though the skin smoothing effect in photos is still quite good. Well, now let's look at the motherboard. This time by someone who actually the processor used is the 4th generation Snapdragon 6. I'll put the benchmark scores right on the screen. Compared to the Dimensity 7 7400 Ultra in the previous 15 Pro, the paper specs for the 17's main screen are actually lower, but the overall benchmark score is 150,000 points higher than the previous generation, making its overall performance stronger. It is perfectly adequate for your daily needs, like scrolling through videos or playing casual games. Plus, the single-layer motherboard design is very friendly for heat dissipation. Now, if you don't have that much of a budget but still want a phone with decent camera performance, I think you could look at a pre-owned Xiaomi 15. A 9 out of 10 condition one on Juanzhuan is only 1,998 yuan. Not only has it like a triple camera system, but also the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, so the experience is truly top tier. You really cannot get these specs in a new phone at the same price point. Plus, Juanzhuan offers multiple rounds of official quality inspections, so you can buy with more peace of mind. Another detail is that I measured the motherboard thickness, and it has increased to 8mm, which is thicker than standard motherboards, making it more durable and resistant to drop. Next, we remove the subboard cover. You can see this phone is equipped with a short focus fingerprint sensor and a Z-axis motor. First, let me give you the most intuitive comparison of the vibration effects between a Z-axis motor and an X-axis motor. One goes boom boom boom, and the other goes bang bang bang. The Z-axis moves up and down, while the X-axis moves side to side. Next, looking at the bottom speaker, it uses an 1115F specification, which is actually quite high. Combined with the 1012F1 above, it has a feature that allows you to boost the volume to 300%. This makes it very convenient for seniors to use the speakerphone during video calls. As for the sound quality, let's compare it with their own K80 Extreme Edition. So, who do you think has better sound quality? There is also a design feature for seniors. This phone has an upgraded AI anti-fraud function. In other words, it is like having an anti-fraud officer pre-installed on your phone. Moving down, we can see that the Type-C port on the subboard also has a waterproof rubber ring. It supports 67 watt wide fast charging, as well as 22.5 watt wide reverse charging. When needed, you can even charge an iPhone at full speed. There is also a bottom microphone on the subboard. The phone has 2 microphones in total, while most phones usually have 3, so this is a small cost-cutting measure. It reaches an exaggerated 9,000 mAh. The manufacturer is Xinhuangde from Zhejiang, but I wonder if this 9,000 mAh can rival the 10,000 mAh of competitors. Finally, let's disassemble the screen. First, we heat it for 91 seconds. This screen is said to be upgraded to Corning Gorilla Glass Victus. This makes it more drop resistant, which is great for elderly users who might not hold their phones steadily. Another thoughtful feature is that the screen uses the same light-emitting material as Xiaomi's flagship series. It has a 1.5K resolution and supports DC dimming, which is easier on the eyes for both young and elderly users. Moving on to the touch chip on the back, it uses a touch IC from Union. This is the first time we've encountered this brand in our teardowns. Competitors usually use Goodix or Synaptics. Yonglian's IC is so fast it is typically used in terminals, but this touch chip is quite good. It supports touch with wet or oily hands, so you don't have to worry if your hands are greasy while cooking. Looking at the 4 corners of the middle frame, they have been reinforced. Another surprise is the very large vapor chamber cooling area. I didn't expect Xiaomi to pair such a large vapor chamber with this 4th generation Snapdragon 6S. Honestly, the iPhone 18 that cost over 10,000 that we looked at last time didn't even have a VC this big. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. We've finished taking the phone apart. While features like the camera, motor, and fingerprint sensor have indeed regressed, the functions that the target users actually need, like the large battery, screen durability, and drop resistance, have been fully maximized. That is what you call precise product segmentation. Apple, you should take notes and learn from this.